You walked into that room and nobody looked up. You made a request and it was ignored. You expressed an opinion and someone talked right over you. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you started wondering, why do some people command instant respect the moment they walk in, while others spend years begging to be taken seriously? The answer is not charm. It is not money. It is not even confidence. The answer was written down 500 years ago by a man who had studied power more closely than almost anyone in human history. A man who had sat across from kings and warlords, watched empires rise and collapse, and distilled everything he observed into a single, scandalous book. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. The book was called The Prince. And what Machiavelli understood, the thing that made his work so dangerous that it was banned by the Catholic Church, is this: most people spend their entire lives trying to be liked. The truly powerful spend their lives ensuring they are respected. And respect, Machiavelli knew, is not the same as love. It is closer to fear. Today, you are going to learn Machiavelli's 7 laws, not the watered-down version, the real one, the one he wrote for rulers, the one that explains exactly why certain people command a room and others disappear into it. Law 1. It is safer to be feared than loved. This is the most famous line Machiavelli ever wrote, and it is almost always misunderstood. In chapter 17 of The Prince, he writes directly, the question arises, is it better to be loved rather than feared, or vice versa? And his answer, if you have to choose, it is much safer to be feared than loved. But here is what he actually means. He is not telling you to be a monster. He is making a cold, precise observation about human nature. And that observation is this: love is conditional. Fear is not. He writes, and this is from the book itself, we can say this of most people, that they are ungrateful and unreliable. They lie, they fake, they are greedy for cash, and they melt away in the face of danger. So long as you are generous and not in immediate danger, they are all on your side. But when you need them, they turn their backs on you. You have seen this. The friend who disappears when things get hard. The colleague who praises you in private and ignores you in public. The ally who vanishes the moment it costs them something to stand beside you. Machiavelli continues, men are less worried about letting down someone who has made himself loved than someone who makes himself feared. Love binds when someone recognizes he should be grateful to you, but since men are a sad lot, gratitude is forgotten the moment it is inconvenient. Fear means fear of punishment, and that is something people never forget. This is Law 1, not cruelty, not brutality. Simply this: do not build your power on other people's goodwill. Build it on something they cannot take back. Build it on consequences. Law 2. Cruelty, if necessary, must be swift, total, and then stopped. This one is even more misunderstood than the first. People hear the word cruelty and they assume Machiavelli is endorsing endless brutality. He is not. He is making a surgical point about timing and precision. In chapter 8, he introduces the concept of what he calls cruelty well used. And it is worth reading his exact words. Cruelty well used, if we can ever speak well of something bad, is short-lived and decisive, no more than is necessary to secure your position, and then stop. You do not go on being cruel, but use the power it has given you to deliver maximum benefits to your subjects. Cruelty is badly used when you are not drastic enough at the beginning but grow increasingly cruel later on, rather than easing off. Think about what he is actually describing. He is not describing a tyrant who enjoys pain. He is describing someone who understands that uncertainty is more terrifying than anything that has already happened. Half measures leave your opponents alive and your intentions unclear. Total decisive action ends the doubt, and once the doubt is gone, the cruelty can stop. He uses Cesare Borgia as his primary example. Borgia, who became Machiavelli's model of a near-perfect ruler, tamed the Romagna, one of the most lawless and violent regions in Italy. by appointing a cruel minister named Ramiro de Orco to restore order. De Orco was ruthless and efficient. Order was restored. And then, once the work was done, Borgia had de Orco executed in the public square, his body cut in 2 pieces, placed beside a bloody knife and a wooden block. As Machiavelli records it in the book itself, the ferocity of the spectacle left people both gratified and shocked. Borgia had used the cruelty, then publicly punished it, transferring all the hatred onto de Orco and emerging as the man who had saved the people from his own instrument. That is not impulsive cruelty. That is architecture. Law 3. Appear virtuous. You do not have to actually be virtuous. Chapter 18 is where Machiavelli becomes truly dangerous, because here he does not talk about what a ruler should do. He talks about what a ruler should appear to do. And the gap between those 2 things is where real power lives. He writes, "A leader does not have to possess all the virtuous qualities, but it is absolutely imperative that he seem to possess them. A ruler must be extremely careful not to say anything that does not appear to be inspired by compassion, loyalty, humanity, honesty, and religion. There is nothing more important than appearing to be religious." And then, the line that made this book infamous. In general, people judge more by appearances than first-hand experience, because everyone gets to see you, but hardly anyone deals with you directly. Everyone sees what you seem to be. Few have experience of who you really are. Machiavelli is not saying be a liar. He is saying something more precise and more uncomfortable. Your reputation is not a reflection of your character. It is a construction, and most people, absorbed in their own lives and concerns, will accept the construction at face value because they never get close enough to test it. The crowd, he writes, is won over by appearances and final results. This is why you have watched people with average talent rise to enormous influence, while people of genuine ability are overlooked. They understood, intuitively or deliberately, that perception precedes reality, that the story you tell about yourself is believed first and questioned only later, and by then, it is usually too late to matter. Law 4. Be the lion and the fox. Never just one. This is Machiavelli's most elegant teaching, and it comes from the same chapter on promises. He writes that a ruler must be able to exploit both the man and the beast in himself. And of the beasts, he must take on the traits of 2, the fox and the lion. The lion cannot defend itself against snares. The fox cannot defend itself from wolves. So you have to play the fox to see the snares and the lion to scare off the wolves. A ruler who just plays the lion and forgets the fox does not know what he is doing. Think about the people you know who project only raw power. They are easy to trap. You can see the snares coming. You know exactly how they will react because they only have one mode. They are predictable, and predictable power is weak power. Now think about the people who are only clever, the ones who maneuver and scheme and never commit to direct confrontation. They get out-muscled. Eventually, someone simply walks over them because there is nothing to stop them. The combination is what makes someone genuinely formidable. The intelligence to see every move 3 steps ahead. The will to act decisively and without hesitation when the moment demands it. The fox reads the room. The lion controls it. Machiavelli adds one critical detail. You have to know how to disguise your slyness, how to pretend one thing and cover up another. The fox who reveals his nature gets hunted. The lion who reveals his plan gets outmaneuvered. You contain both. You reveal neither more than necessary. Law 5. Never be neutral. Always take a side. This one surprises people who think of political wisdom as the art of the middle ground. Machiavelli despises the middle ground. He considers neutrality one of the most dangerous positions a ruler can occupy. In chapter 21, he writes about what a ruler should do when 2 powerful neighbors go to war. His advice: declare yourself. Pick a side, never stay neutral. And then he explains why, with a precision that cuts through every instinct toward caution. Because if you do not declare yourself, you will invariably fall prey to the conqueror. He goes on, In either case, it will always be more advantageous for you to declare yourself and make war strenuously, because if you do not, the one who conquers does not want reluctant allies, and the one who loses has no use for you either. Neutrality feels safe. That is the illusion. Neutrality is actually the position that guarantees you are abandoned by everyone. Think about the moments in your own life when you refused to take a side, when a conflict emerged and you tried to stay in the middle to avoid upsetting either party. What happened? Both sides eventually stopped trusting you. The winning side remembered you were not there. The losing side knew you had offered them nothing. Machiavelli understood something that took political scientists centuries to formalize. In a world where alliances determine outcomes, the uncommitted actor has no leverage. Leverage comes from commitment. It comes from being the person who others know will stand with them unconditionally, even when it costs something, because that is the person who gets called when something is being decided. Law 6. Avoid contempt above all else. People talk constantly about avoiding hatred. Machiavelli agrees that hatred is dangerous, but he identifies something even more corrosive and far more common: contempt. In chapter 19, he writes, "You will be held in contempt if you are seen as changeable, superficial, effeminate, fearful, or indecisive." And then he delivers the antidote. A ruler must act in such a way that everything he does gives an impression of greatness, spirit, seriousness, and strength. When presiding over disputes between people, he should insist that his decision is final and make sure no one imagines they can trick or outwit him. Contempt is the belief that someone does not matter, that they can be ignored, talked over, worked around, or dismissed. And once contempt sets in, it is almost impossible to reverse, because contempt operates below the level of argument. It is not a conclusion someone has reached after weighing evidence. It is a gut-level sense of status that happens almost automatically. You have felt it. The moment someone interrupts you and does not apologize. The moment a decision is made without consulting you. The moment your name is not in the conversation about something you should be part of. And you have felt the opposite too. You know what it is like to be in a room with someone who seems to occupy more space than anyone else, who does not raise their voice but is heard, who does not chase agreement but receives it. The difference is not power in any formal sense. The difference is whether you have allowed yourself to become contemptible. Have you changed your position too many times? Have you forgiven too many transgressions publicly? Have you let people test you without consequence? Have you shown fear when certainty was required? Machiavelli's diagnosis is simple. Contempt follows from inconsistency, from visible weakness, from being easy to read and easier to manipulate. The antidote is the opposite. Be decisive. Be final, be unreadable where it matters, and never, never let anyone walk away from a conflict with you believing they have gotten away with something. Law 7. Control fortune by building while things are still calm. The final law is the most human of all 7, because it addresses the one thing every powerful person fears: luck running out. In chapter 25, Machiavelli confronts the ancient debate about fate versus free will head-on. And his position is characteristically unsentimental. He gives luck half the control. Fortune, he says, decides about half of what happens to us. The other half, more or less, is left to us. But the key is not just the ratio. The key is what he says next. He uses the image of a raging river. A river in flood is devastating. You cannot stop it while it is running. But that does not mean you are helpless. It means you build the banks before the flood. You prepare when the water is low, you dig the channels, you reinforce the walls, and when the flood comes, it is contained. Fortune's the same, he writes. It shows its power where no one has taken steps to contain it, flooding into places where it finds neither banks nor dikes. The rulers who lose their states, he observes in chapter 24, are the ones who failed to prepare during peacetime. In peacetime, they never imagined anything could change. It is a common shortcoming, he writes, not to prepare for the storm while the weather is fair. This is the law that separates people who are merely powerful right now from people who will be powerful for a long time. Temporary power is built on the current conditions. Durable power is built on anticipation of the conditions that do not yet exist. You build your alliances when you do not need them. You develop your reputation when no one is watching. You consolidate your position when no one is challenging it. Because the moment the flood comes, it is too late to build the walls. These are Machiavelli's 7 laws. Fear over love, because love can be withdrawn and fear cannot. Swift, decisive force over prolonged cruelty, because precision ends conflicts while dragging them out multiplies enemies. Appear virtuous rather than simply being virtuous, because perception shapes reality before reality can correct it. Be the lion and the fox together, because force without intelligence gets trapped and intelligence without force gets crushed. Choose a side rather than the middle, because neutrality is not safety, it is invisibility. Eliminate contempt above all else, because hatred can be survived, but contempt destroys you silently. And build your walls when the river is low, because the flood does not announce itself. Right now, someone is dismissing you without saying a word. Machiavelli wrote his book 500 years ago for princes, but the room you walked into this morning had its own princes, its own power, its own contempt, its own alliances being forged and broken without your knowledge. The question is not whether these laws apply to you. The question is whether you will apply them first.